Welcome to Deadscape Diaries and the latest episode of Deep Dive Mythology. Today, we're journeying back to the rugged lands of the Vikings, where battle, honor, and death intertwined in the most dramatic ways. In Norse mythology, we encounter fierce and powerful beings known as the Valkyries. These warrior women served Odin, guiding the souls of fallen warriors to their eternal rest in Valhalla. But there's so much more to them than just their roles as divine escorts. Join me as we explore their origins, significance, and how the Valkyries have influenced both ancient and modern cultures. In the world of Norse mythology, the Valkyries are not just mere mortal women, they are powerful, divine beings. The word Valkyrie itself comes from Old Norse, meaning chooser of the slain. These women were often depicted as riding on horseback, wearing armor, and carrying weapons like spears or shields. They were loyal servants of Odin, the chief of the gods, whose hall, Valhalla, was the final resting place for fallen warriors who had died in battle. It was the Valkyries' job to collect these warriors' souls and bring them to Odin, where they would fight and feast until the time of Ragnarok, the prophesied end of the world. But the Valkyries weren't just grim reapers or divine messengers. According to the Poetic Edda, a collection of Norse poems, they had the power to shape the outcome of battles. They would ride into combat, and it was said that their presence would influence which side would win and which warriors would die. This mystical ability to decide life and death reflected the chaotic, yet sacred, nature of war in Viking culture. To the Norsemen, warriors weren't just fighting for glory in this life, they believed they were fighting to be chosen by the Valkyries and carried to Valhalla. Valhalla itself was seen as the ultimate reward, a place where the bravest warriors could continue their battles and feasts for eternity. The Valkyries symbolized both death and honor, playing a crucial role in upholding the warrior code that the Vikings valued above all else. The importance of the Valkyries was reflected in Viking art and sagas. These women were not just passive figures, they were warriors in their own right, often shown as fierce, skilled fighters. The Norse believed that the Valkyries' presence was a sign of divine favor, that if you were chosen by them, you were deemed worthy of a place in Odin's hall. This belief created a deep sense of pride among Viking warriors, for it meant that their sacrifice on the battlefield would be rewarded in the afterlife. While the Valkyries were undeniably powerful, their roles in Norse society can be a bit paradoxical when it comes to gender. On one hand, the Valkyries were revered as warriors, symbols of strength, courage, and honor. But at the same time, they were still bound to the gods and the patriarchal structure of Norse mythology, where Odin held supreme power. This juxtaposition highlights the complex role of women in Viking culture. They were expected to uphold the same codes of honor as men, but they did so in service to the gods, and ultimately, to male authority. There's also an interesting layer of fate tied to the Valkyries. In Norse mythology, the Norns were the beings who controlled the fate of all creatures. In many ways, the Valkyries served as the agents of fate, carrying out the will of the Norns by choosing which warriors would live and die. This connection between the Valkyries and fate adds another layer of mysticism to their role, reinforcing the belief that life and death were inextricably linked and often beyond human control. Over the centuries, the Valkyries have evolved into powerful symbols in modern media and culture. From Wagner's opera Die Walküre to Marvel's portrayal of the Valkyrie in the Thor comics and films, these women have become icons of empowerment, strength, and resilience. However, Modern depictions often focus on their role as fierce warriors and champions, sometimes overshadowing their deeper, more complex roles as divine agents of fate and death. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, for example, Valkyrie, portrayed by Tessa Thompson, is depicted as a warrior in her own right, battling enemies with incredible strength. While this representation celebrates the warrior aspect of the Valkyrie, it also simplifies the mythology in a way that removes the divine and spiritual aspects of their character. This is a common trend in modern retellings of mythological figures, where the cultural and symbolic weight of these figures is often watered down in favor of action and adventure. Additionally, in modern storytelling, Valkyries often appear as symbols of empowerment, fierce women who take control of their destiny. This modern interpretation aligns with current cultural movements advocating for gender equality and female representation in media, which has contributed to their resurgence as icons of strength. The legacy of the Valkyries is still alive today, whether in literature, video games, or pop culture. These warrior women symbolize the powerful intersection of fate, honor, and battle, and their role in Norse mythology has had a lasting influence on how we view female strength. Their story reminds us that, even in the harsh world of ancient Norse culture, women had a vital role to play, not as passive figures, but as active agents who shaped the course of history, both on and off the battlefield. So, there you have it, a deep dive into the Valkyries and their enduring legacy in both Norse mythology and modern media. From fierce warriors to agents of fate, the Valkyries embody the power of women in a world where battles were fought not only with weapons, but with destiny itself. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Deadscape Diaries for more deep dive mythology. Until next time, remember, the legends of the past continue to shape our world today.